The former President of the United States, Jimmy Carter, is joining us now. President Carter, I know this is a sad time for you, even though going back to 1980, you were political rivals for the Democratic presidential nomination. Give us a thought of what's going through your mind right now.
We've already expressed our personal condolences and prayers to the Kennedy family, with a firm expression from our family that we've never seen anyone in the Senate that more assiduously and constantly and enthusiastically dedicated his life to trying to make sure that everything that the U.S. government decided was in the best interest of the people who were deprived or poor or neglected or felt the ravages of discrimination. And we really appreciate what Ted Kennedy meant to us personally and to our nation. And I don't think there's anybody either that can say that there's ever been a more effective senator in promoting his own ideals, which are very high, than Ted Kennedy did.
Let's go back to 1980. I was rereading Adam Clymer's book on Senator Kennedy,
okay.
And in that book, he makes the point that one reason why Senator Kennedy decided to challenge you for the Democratic presidential nomination was because he was disappointed you weren't moving more quickly on health care reform, specifically a national health insurance program. Is that your recollection?
Not at all. I have just the opposite impression of that. But Ted Kennedy began running against me about the middle of 1979. And in the fall of 1979, he was 2-1 or 3-1 ahead of me in the national opinion poll. So we had a very tough, hard-fought, maybe sometimes divisive campaign against one another in the winter and springtime of 1980, and eventually I defeated Ted Kennedy quite severely. And I think that was one of the things that divided our party the rest of that year. But I worked very eagerly to try to get a comprehensive health bill passed, and although it didn't meet the perfection standards that Senator Kennedy espoused, it would have been a major step forward. So we didn't quite agree on the technique of getting health care guaranteed for everyone, but we both had our hearts in the same direction, I would say.
And it was a tough political process that you and Senator Kennedy went through for that Democratic nomination. But I remember, and we've spoken about this in the past, you and I, yes. President Carter, he didn't even shake your hand at that Democratic convention, and that sort of set the tone for a lot of Democrats perhaps not voting for you when the November election came.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. As I said in my previous remark just a minute ago, the Democratic Party division that was promulgated between the Kennedy group and mine never was healed during that summertime and the fall campaign. And that was one of the factors that was important in the general election. But after that occurred, and even before I went out of office, Ted Kennedy and I were completely reconciled as far as friendship is concerned. And since then, whenever I've had a major problem that dealt with the Carter Center's business overseas or in any way related to health or welfare or the benefit of poor people in this country or the others, I've called on Ted Kennedy as a friend, and he's always been fully supportive. So those political skirmishes were soon forgotten, and the friendship prevailed.